Hello everyone!
Hello everyone!
Welcome to another stream for Transformers Earth Course. It's just us again.
Yeah.
Like Jairo, I think, is currently in Spain. Deborah is busy doing other things. So you're gonna enjoy us for another stream.
Same old suspects.
So this is gonna be a really exciting stream.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we're gonna be talking about today. There is we're gonna show the new bots that's gonna appear in the end of this saga. We're gonna show the event for this weekend. We're gonna show HQ17, the new game mode, elimination mode that goes with it. Talk about all the details, like what comes in with the new HQ and the new content that will be happening from next week. Do some Q&A, so it's gonna be a really busy and tight stream with a lot of information that we hope you guys enjoy. So we should probably start with a few hellos.
So watching us from YouTube, there is Sensius54, Mauro Kota, V Logiman, Anton Issa, eDamage13, Lee Gosling, Rob Quinn's writing channel, hello to Howard Choi, Damon Swink, to Maxwell and Evan Garcia.
So I'll do tweets. So hello Lord Dragir, Big Bros Ream, Bobby Bless, Few77, that's half of our playtesters right there. Defcon 64, Radzak12, Scouts 1024, Mick Colley, Laserclaw 80, Osteo Prime, and Conus Prime. So hello guys.
Yeah, and also hello to Floco Simpatico, Steve Jago. And I think that would be it actually.
That's it? Good.
Yeah, I don't see anybody here.
Probably early days for Facebook to join. So hello everyone. So let's just
jump in and start probably with the event.
Yeah, let's go through the event because I assume everyone is excited to see HQ17. So we'll do the event, we'll show the new bots, and then just jump straight into the HQ17 and new other details. So the event for this weekend is called the Vigilante. It's an Alliance tournament event where you can actually win and guarantee 4-star crystal. So you get 2,500 4-star shards if you play to the end. You also get a lot of other goodies like 2,000 3-star shards, 5,000 premium shards, 70,000 spark, 20 MK3 battle boosters, and 5 frozen spark crystals with equal chances to drop 5,000, 7,500 and 10,000 spark. Also, you also get super XP for each battle that you take, so a lot of chance to actually level your bots.
Which 4-star are you after?
For me, I guess I'm to the point now that I kind of want to get a duplicate so I can get another 5-star. I have quite a few. I'm trying to think. I would like for the new ones like Red Alert. I really think he's a really useful bot to deal with all the long stun abilities. So he'll be the one I really would like to see from the. There's a few other cool characters. Rhinox, Strafe is pretty good. Dinobot, with the new character, it's really strong. So yeah, but they are pretty early, so definitely won't get them because they're not in the 4-star crystal. Cool. So how the totalizer works. So again, as I said, you just win a few rewards here and there. The rewards go up to 500,000, so it's not of the really big grindy ones for 1 million, but it's still something that your alliance will need to fight for. But I think you only need to go up to 400,000 to get a gold chip, and after that is the crystals which allow you to get it's like the stretch goals for the Alliance that can actually push a bit harder. So I forgot to mention that you actually get a gold chip in the original rewards and a silver chip, so you actually get the ability to get a few power cores.
Alright.
Everything okay?
Yeah, somebody wrote like, is that a Rocket League logo behind the window? And I'm just trying to wonder. No.
Probably. Probably should be around something.
There are some fans in the office.
Cool. So that's the event. Again, as a reminder, this is gonna be Super XP. So if you go into the battle zones again, it's the usual 900 percentage of XP if you go all the way to the top zone. Awesome.
Awesome. Classic event. A chance to get a 4-star.
Yeah.
Should we have a look at the accompanying dialogue?
if we must. Apparently the last one we did was the best one yet because we put the effort in, so
Okay.
we have to top it, I guess. I'll see if there's any dialogue. We could do the Decepticons because they're cool and you can make voices like excellent, die Autobots.
It's been a bit short though. It's been a bit short, it's really short.
So we'll do the
Maybe.
Autobots? Yeah, so I'll do the Autobots then. For the good of all. Cool. Rook to Streetwise. You seeing what I'm seeing?
Activity. Well, there shouldn't be any. This base was mothballed years ago.
And yet, here it is, crawling with Standicons.
And we have to assume Death Doors. Somewhere inside. Up to something. Let's get back to Star Saber and the other Philemine.
Citrep.
What we have is Alpha 3 hotspot, a Decepticon staging base, long stripped down and abandoned.
But currently anything but. From the outside it's a cell, but inside, well, why have Motor Muscle and his Standicon goons on point if there's nothing worth protecting?
Any way to take a closer look?
Nah, there's a fat lot of nothing for miles around in every direction. We'd made the moment we sawed our shiny fenders.
Maybe I could make a high altitude pass. Get a look inside those walls.
Still no guarantee we'll be any wiser, Blades. A dead end's got inbuilt radar system that can spawn a scraplet at 10,000 paces. Tethasaurus chose well.
Can't risk going in blind. We need us some specialist help.
And ta-da! Yeah, it's a bit early days in the saga, I guess. I think from what I remember, the Thesaurus is up to no good. Tried to get a bot to join him. I think he's willing to get some kind of more loyal people because all the other bots, I guess, are more loyal to the other Megatrons that we have in the game.
There may be some combiners involved later on in the story as well. Some you have seen before with the Stanticons.
So Staticons are there, the Protector bots are there, so lots of things happening in our story.
Yeah, and like some comeback of all the bots we haven't seen in dialogues for a while.
Yeah, so I mean, there's so many. I'm surprised with Simon Fairman, our writer, when he writes these stories, where he probably is just going through like, oh look, we have like 140 characters we need to feature. I guess some of them have not been like.
Sometimes he actually puts a character that's not in the game, and I have to remind him we don't have him yet.
Okay, there's still cases, so some people will point us, you still have not introduced this character.
Yeah. Simon is like that. He really wants Strangehold, and there is, which one? I don't remember now, but yeah.
There's a few good ones, but don't worry guys, they will come eventually. So speaking of... okay, someone actually pointed it.
This apparently looks like the Rocket League logo.
No, it's actually, I think, just a car. But yeah, it's quite similar. So I think next moving on is to actually show what the bots are for this saga, the new one. What are the new characters that gonna actually join us in I think 2 weeks time?
Yeah. So they look quite...
They're quite similar in a way.
Yeah.
Actually, quite a lot of similar. I think the main difference is into the alt mode.
And we've matched them to be similar because it's also easier for us to kind of like have a parity in terms of ability and stuff. So because if they look the same, they can act the same, and we can make an ability.
What the people also ask us is like when they like, I want this bot, and a lot of the times you see like, oh yeah, we can do another car or plane. For sure, but then it's like, oh, we need to find some other plane to match it, and then it becomes a problem.
It becomes a problem.
A lot of the Autobots are like cars, a lot of the Decepticons are planes, and it's really, really hard to find an ability or something that can actually be used on as both.
We try to do it, like we've done it before for Goldfire and Ramjets, but it's a bit, I don't know. It's a plane that rushes, it's a little bit strange still, so we try to match them as much as possible with like.
And then it's like people like, well, why do you pop the bots if the guy flies over, or and you don't have the parity, and people complain, and sort of thing. So without further ado, the new characters are Drillhorn and Nosecone.
Yeah.
A lot of people gonna ask like, Drillhorn who?
Yeah.
So it is actually one of the second bot we're gonna feature from the Japanese continuity, specifically Victory. Series from Generation 1, and we can actually show him in game. So Drillhorn, it's one of the breast force people, which we've not been asked to call them like that. It's like a team of Autobots, Decepticons, like loyal to Deathosaurus, and a nice, really interesting color scheme.
We don't have any like really bright purple bots like him. So he is some sort of a tank, and he has this like really big drilling device at the front. That turns into like actually a drilling device in his hand as well. That's how it looks.
So it's kind of a tank with a drill. Not the most ingenious, but I guess for a lot of people, his coming means some other thing coming, maybe down the line. So we're not going to talk about it. But so it's one of the second Japanese continuity bots, Drillhorn, and the first from the Deathosaurus little squad of minions.
I guess that's the reason why he's in the dialogue, right?
That's why like the story goes there in the Deathosaurus feature.
I really like Deathosaurus in our game. It looks really cool.
Our death chicken, as people call him, or turkey, sorry.
Death turkey.
And to parity with is a Nosecone from the Autobot side, as people say, one of the Copytron bots, Nosecone. And like a lot of people say, it's quite similar between themselves. He again is a tank that has a drill in front. So surprise.
You could argue it's in the back, which is in the front, because if you actually look at the toys, it's some sort of like you have the feeling the tank has been like turned upside down.
So also I think the difference mainly is in his tank form. So he actually has the drill facing backwards, and it's a bit kind of lower down than the one from Drillhorn.
The color, of course, and the head.
The color and the head are different. What can I say? Like sometimes when Hasbro gives us like the same bots, like similar to each other, we just go with it. So a bit easier to design, but again, like they're both like interesting characters, and hopefully they're gonna have some interesting abilities because of the drill. So
we're definitely gonna play with the drill.
It's something for once when you can design bots and you like, what ability I'm gonna give? Like, oh, they have a big drill in the front.
At the front, okay.
Both. So
problem solved.
So this is gonna be kind of straightforward, but hopefully it's gonna be cool.
I think it's gonna be useful in like some of a specific situation, like very useful.
So Nosecone and Drillhorn, we're gonna be talking them a bit more in the newsletter next week. Probably another stream 2 weeks from now where we actually go through and talk about their abilities. Probably
we'll share more about like the lore and like the Simon Furman bio that Simon Furman wrote next week, and we'll spend some time with the playtester just like balancing the ability next week, and we'll demonstrate it in 2 weeks during the stream.
Cool. And so that's the bots. And now I'm gonna have to change another account because to everyone, what everyone is waiting for, it's time for some HQ17.
Yeah.
So we do some trivia actually because it's for the characters. Maybe it's a good interlink while
Okay, I can do
get
that.
prepared.
So we have a few trivia not related to HQ17 because it's not that very interesting for trivia. So the characters are more fun. So for trivia, please leave your answer in the chat together with your in-game name, HQ level, and alliance name, so we can find you later and send you some freebie.
Sorry, just in case there's some Q&A.
So the first question is, so Noscone is a perfectionist who values precision and competence, much unlike his rather unconventional creator. According to the Transformers cartoon, who created Noscone?
Do you want to repeat?
Yeah, I'm going to repeat the question. So Noscone is a perfectionist who values precision and competence, which is very much unlike his rather unconventional creator. So who is the creator of Noscone according to the Transformers cartoon? And I'm gonna keep a look. There's already some replies.
Okay, that might take. It's a good thing we do trivia. I might need some time for this.
Yeah. People are quite excited about Drill Horn.
Awesome. Is there any Q&A in the meantime that we can probably...
There's not
Take.
really any Q&A. Speaking of Streetwise, why is he a special class? That's a good question. He's a special class because it's not exactly fitting Streetwise. It has this kind of like support ability, which is very characteristic to special class, which is this time speed grenade that you can just like throw in an area and just like make your bot faster and the other bots lower. When you read about it, this could be quite underwhelming in the description, but it's actually really quite efficient, especially because it's so long.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to stay a special class because it's really hard for us to anyway change the class of a bot afterwards because of power cores mainly.
Yeah.
So when will the warrior and flyer buff come? It won't come this weekend. People are
So we are gonna talk about the buffs in the stream. So they are actually part of the HQ70 release.
Yeah.
So everything is bundled together. So we will be talking about the buffs. I don't know if I think that we're still getting some feedback about some of them. So some of them will be tweaked, but we can talk. I think the brush strokes and most of the things will probably stay the same.
Yeah. But it will not come this weekend, so don't expect having stronger class.
I guess I can probably jump in and say like when these things are gonna start rolling in, because probably be people concerned also about when HQ17 is coming up. So the plan is for things to start appearing, I think, on Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
So like for our side, so around like just before usually when the raids go active. So that's when the plan is to release HQ17. Usually Tuesday, just before the raids go, we're probably gonna push it live. The reason for that is we have a new like mode, which is called the elimination mode. And that requires that only is active between Tuesday 10 a.m. UTC and Friday 10 a.m. UTC. So we didn't want to push stuff on Thursday early because you need a lot of this new currency that's available in elimination mode, and it wouldn't make sense to just upgrade your HQ and then it's like, oh, but I can't do anything else because all the currency is in the new game mode. So we'd rather like release it within everything is active, and you can straight away go and try the new game mode and everything and start winning this new currency for the new HQ. And so talking about the new HQ, I'm nearly done.
Yeah, in the meantime, I'm gonna like randomly select some trivia to reply. They're awesome.
Did we get some winners?
We already got some winners, not all of them. 1 minute.
Try to find a decent Decepticon base.
So we have some winners. I'm going to repeat the questions before giving the answer. So Noscon is a perfectionist who values precision and competence, much unlike his rather unconventional creator. According to the Transformers cartoon, who created Noscon? And the answer is the temporarily super intelligent Grimlock used Unicron parts to create Noscon and the rest of the Technobots. I didn't know that. Made of Unicron parts.
Well, I didn't know the Unicorn parts, but I did know that Grimlock was the one that actually made them, which is actually quite funny considering that he's not the smartest quickie in the book.
So the winners are Kick-Ass Prime from Evil Insurgents. We also have Smoked Cheese, really like that name, from Quantum's Web. And we have Burnout Prime from the Rangers Workers. Congratulations to you guys.
Congratulations, guys. Okay. So let's actually start showing the HQ17 things. It's there. So that's the Autobot canvas on a nearly full upgraded HQ17 building base. There's a lot of stuff that's gonna come with this. I can show you like I mean a lot of the buildings like has slight differences. So there's a lot of people like some of our playtesters say it's not that easy always to pick on them, but there are actually differences on most of the buildings except for the resources buildings. So you can see the outposts are the ones that are a bit higher. There is a target-like base on the mortars and most of the buildings, which I guess is the biggest, like kind of like yes, I'm an HQ17.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of like stuff with that. So with the HQ17, you're gonna get upgrades to all your buildings, except for Combiner Lab, the Power Core Lab, and
Building bots.
But everything else pretty much gets upgraded. Research Lab finally has a white skin that will finally make the people that have OCD happy, because they'll be like, it's been yellow for how long?
It's going to make some room in the stream chat as well, because we have the question literally every 2 weeks.
Yes. You also have, we upgraded like ore harvester, ore storage, all the resources building gets upgraded. The saddle doesn't upgrade, but the scanner does. So a lot of buildings to upgrade. And we also have a few extra buildings coming along with. So you can build an extra beam laser missile launcher when you go to HQ17. So
and some more walls.
And yeah, six more walls.
6 more walls.
So more pieces, more buildings to do. I think for us, like we picked like we I think previous HQs had like more cannons, more mortars, and already feel that you had a lot of these buildings. So beam lasers and missile launchers were the ones, the special ones that were a bit more rare. So it's nice to actually get them a bit up. Cool. So I'm trying to see some of the values here. I probably you can see some of the building health. So some of the buildings, like a mortar with a nearly gold, maximum gold armors around 661. So all the buildings have been increased and balanced based on a squad that's around like has done level 61 upgrade. We actually went through most of the abilities that have one shot or do a lot of damage, and compared to try to get in sync of like how it is with HQ16 when you are below certain levels, and what the bot can be useful, what levels it needs to be used to be able to upgrade. And it felt like these values are quite, you still need to get your bots to level 60, which is not easy, but if you get to that point, then you should be okay. And from most of the playtests we've seen, like that is pretty much the case.
Plus,
Uh,
because like there is some like this new currency, like there won't be like
Yeah.
right after right after we update the game, there won't be like a full HQ17 base.
So as we discussed last week, I'm trying to find it. Okay, so you can see there is a new currency that's involved when upgrading the space. This is the pink kind of like energon called the Z energon. This new energon is kind of like gonna be used for all the upgrades, and people will require to have this in order to upgrade the base. It takes quite a, like, I think the HQ doesn't require, but any other building over that except for walls will require this new currency, which means even for the people that are willing to spend or skip, you still will need to grind it and get this first before you can do it. What do you get this as an energon for?
That's a very good question.
That's a very good question.
And I think we already saw that window before.
So you can get it from some of the top leagues. So here is like Prime League has like 15,000 for a win. It goes 10,000 and 8,000 down as you go down the league. So like I think it's like Gold League and above, you can win some participating in wars. I think Prime League is also like you can get like 8,000 even if you lose. So there is some, but just doing wars. The main thing you can gain it from is in battle there's this new elimination mode that you can access, and this is where we expect like most people to get the brand of this energy from. Elimination mode is a PvP mode like normal attack a rival player. The difference being that you can reuse a bot that's on cooldown from something else. But when you use this bot once in this mode, this bot is gone. So you don't have it anymore, and it won't be available for this week. And then next week it resets and he comes back.
Because the elimination mode goes from Tuesday to Friday.
Yeah. The idea for this mode is like to use more than your main squads. So get your main squad, attack on top zones, and then go back and see like, okay, these are the characters I have left. Like, what can I do? And then go all the way down and activate. Use most of your bots if you want, or alt function bots to get more attacks in. So this is, I think, for me, like what it's all about is like the trying to figure out what squads you have left with your remaining bots and what zone you can actually start hitting with them in order to make it more interesting and getting the more like set energy on return.
So it's kind of like also strategic. When you go down to like bots that you don't use, you try to figure out the best way to just like attack which base and make the net. Yeah.
Can you actually write any questions? Just because I can't actually point.
I am copying the questions.
Okay, because I can't really point anything because I'm busy doing that. So I'm gonna actually show you. So you get a new shuttle with a HQ, a new squad shuttle for like elimination mode. I think it appears like after if you are I can't remember. I think it's the last upgrade because it has it one. So you get an extra squad slot because this is a bit special slot. So it will be the last slot if you go to your main thing, your main battle select where you can scroll through them. But when you go into this mode, you're only gonna have this one slot. The reason being that it's designed when you take the bot and you come back. We clear any bots you use to make it more easy to just throw bots in. We don't want you to just go and nuke all your existing squads because you want to be using it for other modes. So this is gonna be quite like a special one. It's one slot. I know people prefer to use their squads, but after you start like going through all your bots and like losing all your bots, then it becomes a bit easier to just go in and just make them anew.
There's a question about this. People are asking if you can still reuse bots if you lose the battle.
No.
No.
So if any bot you deploy you actually take into the battle, not have them with the shuttle and just sit there. Any bot you deploy on the battlefield, it's gone. Doesn't matter if you win or you lose, it's gone.
So better win.
So I'm actually gonna demonstrate so you can see like those guys are my top guys. If we go by power, it's actually a bit easier to show. And just go into a battle. Oh, it's fun. Positive heart.
Okay. Can you use both factions?
You can use both functions. that's an interesting one. You can use both functions. You can use Decepticon bots.
Also, I'm gonna reply this one. Like, will you get Z Energon for attacking other players just like with Alloy and regular Energon? So you cannot steal Z Energon.
You cannot steal Z Energon. The only thing you can do is win it. So I was gonna, but actually managed to freeze the game, so I'll have to restart. So the zones actually give you a set amount of Energon. I think the zone 15, which is our new high zone, gives you 20,000 Energon, Z Energon. If you win, you just get that.
You just win it. You don't steal it from the player you've attacked. Yeah. So once you've made your Z Energon, which is quite precious, it's not going to get stolen from you.
Yeah, because it's quite limited. Like a lot of the buildings have like up to like I think around 100,000 like Z Energon. So, and you can probably just get enough to build like 2 buildings or 2.5 buildings or 3 buildings a week. We don't want people to just come and steal it because that will delay the process even longer. Okay, and we are back. Cool. So let's try to go through the shuttle again. Okay, that's enough. So you can see like these are just the regular zones. You can see there's actually zone 15 now, which I'm going to talk about. And you can see how much cost of Z Energon you can win. So let's take this squad, I'm probably going to go attack. So as you can see, like the Z Energon you can win is actually designed to make you use like a big squads on zone 14 and 15 because that gives you a bigger reward. Zone 12, there's a big gap between zone 12 and zone 13 in the reward. That's because a lot of bots can actually solo zone 12. So we don't want like people like, oh, I have all these powerful bots and I'm just gonna go and attack solo 12. Yeah. You could probably use some of your power levels to do that to help you, but it's better if you just make a good squad and powerful squad and attack the higher level zones. So I'm gonna do it like a zone 13 attack. To quite so the thing. So you can see actually the XP is pretty good. So another thing that's part of this game mode is designed to give you quite a lot of XP. So the bots that you use that are not part of your main squad slowly can get a lot of XP to level up. So this was around 60,000 XP for what's like we have like 6 bots. So it's a lot of XP if you can actually solo, because like usually if you beat it with like 3 bots, all that XP just gets spread upon everything. So a lot of XP in this new game mode. I think zone 12 is like the rewards pretty good rewards. So I think the design is for this is to play it. Get XP, level up some of the other bots, and get the Z Energon that you win that you need in order to win this.
It's going to be a good way to level your bots also during the week, right?
Yeah.
When there's no like super XP or things like that, it's still going to be like massive amount of XP for one battle. So it's kind of like.
I'm gonna be trash here because I definitely don't pay attention and just using abilities.
We've already covered that, but somebody asked if we're going to use that Energon for walls. So no. It's the only building from HQ17 that doesn't require that Energon because it's already like a high cost of alloy and a lot of walls. So we didn't want to make it very difficult that way. Some people were asking if, talking about walls again, if sludge instructors will still be able to destroy walls or become useless. They're not going to become useless because together with HQ17 you can upgrade them to level 65, and of course the damage they do to walls increases as well. I know the playtester were talking about this. Of course it's going to be harder for sludge instructors to destroy the HQ17 walls, but it's not going to be that much harder. It's a regular increase.
It's an increase. It's not a massive increase. Yes, you need to have slots around 61, maybe, I don't know if it's 62, depending on what your ability level is and your what call you have assigned, but it still will deal massive damage. Even if you don't destroy the walls, it will pretty much leave like 10% health, even if you're not on those levels. So I think Sludge is really going to be useful and still going to be one of the more like the best bots to have, I think, with time drops. So if you go now with this new squad, You can see that all the bots I just took, they're just cleared. If you go into your available bots, those bots are not there. And if you scroll all the way down, there's a new section which is all your used bots, and that's pretty much resets like after like a week's time. So, but the good thing is like you could go on PvP and those bots are not in cooldown. You can use them for wars, you can use them for other PvP battles. So the same squad that you just used, you can just use elsewhere. Or also a squad that's being used in wars, you can just bring it in and it doesn't use any cooldown. So that's elimination mode.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoy the urgency of trying to find the squad, like after you use your base squads, and like what you can actually do with your 3 stars and some other like 4 stars that you don't really use. So that's the game mode. And
some players were really interested in seeing what's happening with the research lab.
so the research lab, I guess that's a good point. So the research lab has been upgraded to allow you to take bots over level 65. So you need to upgrade the research lab, and then any bots that have been stuck at level 60, they can get now, sorry, above 65. So they can get above level 60 with a maximum new cap of 65. The other thing that has happened, and probably, yeah, I can actually show you, which is good. You can now upgrade the research lab slots, and you can unlock a second slot. It costs like 200,000 Z energon. It's only available for now after you upgrade a new level. But when you upgrade that, you can research 2 bots at the same time, as people have been asking since forever. There is no requirement, as I said like a few streams ago, that I want to only do like level 60 and above and the rest below. No, you can pretty much do like 2 level 60 bots, or you can do like a level 10 or a level 20, so you can use it as much as you want. So
no more limitation on level.
Yeah, no more limitation. It's available there. Yeah, like there is some plan, so maybe we will bring it this functionality below the HQ 17. So in early research labs, but it might still cost like Z energon to unlock. It's kind of like for all the players that have not yet got to that point, because Z energon is mostly used for HQ 17 upgrades. It would be nice, I guess, to have some use for it, and then maybe you unlocking that extra research lab earlier is a kind of a decent use.
Because you don't have to have HQ 17 to take part in the elimination mode. You can do it from
I think you can do it from like HQ 12 and above. Okay. And also, of course, you can get it from wars. If you are Gold League, then you can win some of that there. So you can win some a bit before you get to HQ 17. So that's research lab. Like for the bots actually that you have, probably don't have any level 60 bots. So the Z energon is also going to be used for taking a bot over like level 60. We are actually at that point, we don't use energon as we used, but there is also Z energon cost of 100,000. So you'll be using it also to upgrade your bots.
Cool.
Also, so that's the energon. So a lot of people probably are panicking, like we're talking about getting bots 60 and it's hard.
Yeah, we should also say that.
Yeah. So there is actually, we are tweaking the XP that you win in battle. So you'll be getting more XP from the update from next week. Any buildings that belong to HQ 15 and above will now be giving double the XP they used to. So if you were to attack a zone 12 base that was giving a total of 30,000 XP, you now be getting like 60,000 XP.
It's going to be the new base.
Yeah, this is a new base, and if you add the multipliers of the zones or the gold XP core, that means you get a lot more. Also, bases that are above HQ 15, and so HQ 15, HQ 16, and HQ 17 give significant more XP than they used to. I think HQ 70, for example, gives around like three times what the XP should be. No, it's like 4 times, I think. It's something like a lot. So that means when you go zone 15 with your whole squad, like I probably demonstrate this.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we've given like more XP to the top level, because obviously when you go on this like top basis, you take a whole squad and the XP is shared.
Yeah.
Which makes it not so great if you want to tackle like top
So
bases.
if I go to like zone 15, which is a pretty much a usual multiplier of 180%, it's around double XP, and I attack, so that's an 11,000 XP point there, but I think that base is probably, yeah, that's an HQ 16 base, yeah. But this is like no multipliers. Or you go on if you go on a super XP event, that probably gonna be around like 40,000 for bots, for any bot that actually deploys on this zone. So it's a lot of XP, and hopefully it tickles in. Main gains will be, I guess, on super XP events, and will be probably on zone 12s for those HQs. You can probably, you'll just pretty much like be half the effort to get any bot to level 60, I think.
And also, like, I know like a lot of players were saying it's really hard to get your bots from 50 to 60 before, because the XP required was really high. It was just like jumping from level to level, like at very high rate.
Yeah.
After 60, we kind of like, it's going to be still more to get to 63 than it is to 62, but we've kind of like...
Yeah, it doesn't double as it used to. So the progression of the XP curve is more gentle. So I think 61 is like 20 million or something like that, or 23, and then it goes up to 23, 25, 30, 35. So it increases, but by increases more gentle than not before, as it used to go from 7 to 14
and double every time.
Good. So that's the XP. More XP coming soon. I'm trying to see the notes of what else we need to talk, because there's a lot of other stuff.
So while you're looking for this, I'm going to ask the second question so that you can figure this out. So it's a second trivia. So as before, just post your reply your answer in the chat together with your in-game name and your alliance name and your HQ level, so we can find you and send you some freebie. The second question is, Drillhorn is part of the Breast Force group, and each member of this group has a breast animal, called this way because they're attached to the breast. That's why they call breast animal in the Breast Force. What's the name of Drillhorn's breast animal? Cool.
That's a Breast Force, a companion of Drillhorn. Other things that you're gonna see different. So the starting mana has increased to 32 from 28. I think that was the HQ 16. The maximum mana has now increased to 40. That you can actually gain. And also, if you see the timer, so the timer has increased by 30 seconds. So when you are in HQ 17 base and you do an attack, that gives you an extra 30 seconds of battle time in the battlefield. So that's actually pretty useful. Straight away, when you upgrade HQ 17, you straight away get 30 seconds. That's quite a significant help for all those pesky time traps. If you get attacked by lower bases, that's still on a 3-minute timer. It's only the requirement for the attacker that actually changes that. So more mana, as I said, it's like 40, probably not gonna go and play and so that. There was briefly, some people might have seen that there's a new zone that's zone 15, and now there's a new zone that's like Prime Zone. So Prime Zone is similar to the Prime League. So it's quite similar to the zone that's attached to, but it has some special effects. So it's usually the same special effects as we have in Prime League. This zone is mainly for the players that want to keep practicing those Prime League battles, and they don't just want to try to go fresh when a new effect changes and they have not really practiced. So this zone is there pretty much to give you a zone 15 opponent with those new extra effects, and I can probably show you that you can actually see this information. So if you go here, you can actually click on that box and it says like these are the Prime Zone effects. You get a bit more medals, so there's a higher cap for medals. You get more resources and you get a bit more XP, but the target for that is like for the people that want to go it. We didn't want to force everyone to use it. It's more like if you feel yourself that you want more challenge and you want to practice on the Prime League effects, that's there. Speaking about zones, we also did rebalance the zones a bit. So Zone 14 will become a bit easier. Some of the HQ16 really powerful bases with really strong bots has now been moved to be Zone 15. So Zone 15 will include maximum Zone 16 bases with really quite strong bots and combiners, and all the, of course, the new HQ17 buildings.
Is it because you're taking into account the outpost now?
Yeah, so this is another thing, like we do take accounts on what bots you have in the outpost. Before it used to be the outpost had defensive power and that's what it was. We didn't calculate at all if you had a level 65 star, but now that power of the board is actually calculated and it makes your base considerably harder. And this will also be visible, I guess, in wars, when you go in, you fight bases in difficulty. If all the bases are HQ16, but some people have like really strong bots, usually you're gonna find them later in the wars. So all that changes. Speaking about wars, more stuff. We don't want like this new HQ17 bases, as we said, to appear in all the zones. So what we have done is like it's probably not, I can't actually show that now, unfortunately. For Caminus League, when you face an HQ17 building or base, that base is gonna be getting a debuff. So all the HQ17 buildings, and only that, if there's any HQ16 buildings will not be affected, will get I think it's around 90% less, 90% of the DPS of the base of that building and 90% of the health. So if you fight an HQ17 on Caminus Leagues, it's gonna be weakened. It's gonna be around a bit stronger to levels of an HQ16.
So it's still gonna look like an HQ17.
Yeah, it's still gonna be there, but there is gonna be a debuff that you can actually see.
It's gonna be rebalanced your level,
yeah.
Sort of.
If you go now to is it Platinum League? To remember this. So if you go to Platinum League, at that point we're actually gonna start debuffing also HQ16 bases. The same effect for HQ17 and HQ16 is going to be happening to all the zones down from the zones that start like getting debuffed. But they're going to get like progressively harder and harder and harder. So an HQ17 on a Bros League would probably, that building from HQ17 would probably have like 50% of the health and 50% of the DPS. So this we don't want to scare people out. It's, even nowadays you go to Bronze Link and you see an HQ16, we don't want that. So there will be debuff for all these high level HQs on the lower zones in order to accumulate to slowly, to help players that have been like going up there, like or alliances that are slowly progressive up the wars. Cool.
And there was another question, how much is actually the cost of the HQ itself and how long is it going to take to upgrade it? So for HQ17,
the values.
Yeah, how the values. It's going to cost 4,100,000 energon and 5,400,000 alloy, and it's going to take 14 days, which I believe is the same duration as it was for HQ16.
Yeah, it's like I think it's 14 days. I think it was exactly the same for HQ16.
Yeah. So we don't want to increase that.
So the other probably people will ask what's the upgrade times for the buildings above outside the HQ. We have increased this now for 40. It used to be 40. Now it's up to 18 days.
Yeah, for the building that had the most upgrade.
But we've also, I think, as we balance this, we decrease some of the lower the bases. I think HQ16 is the same. I think it's 14 days.
Yeah.
But the HQ15, I think it has been reduced.
Yeah, so there was like for some levels you had like buildings upgrading that way, like 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 7 days, 14 days, 14 days. We've made it like more progressive, which means like at the lower levels it's actually less time. That means that is good for like players that have started the game later on and just like need to catch up a little bit.
Let's probably pick some of the winners. I don't know if you've already done that.
I have picked some winners.
Let's announce the winners actually before we continue talking because some people forgot.
Yeah, wait, I'm going to first give the answer to this question. So the question was, Drillhorn is part of the Breast Force group and they are called that way because they all have a breast, they all have an animal that gets attached to their breast. what's the name of Drillhorn's breast animal? Breast animal is called horn breast, which is a robotic rhino that can transform into either chest plate or a handheld blaster. Is it
Cool.
not? Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
That's that horn breast.
Horn
And
breast.
the winners are Vajto from Agents of Chaos. We have Oceanus 4 from Terra Guardians, and we have Osteoprime from AOC Unicron.
Cool. So congratulations, guys.
Congratulations.
Going back to more HQ17 stuff, some people were asking about ability level 11.
Yeah.
So this will not actually come with the HQ upgrade right now. The reason for that, like we were intending to do an ability level 11 that you can upgrade to, but the problem we have with the abilities, as you might have noticed, like for some bots, you go from 9 to 10 or 8 to 10, and the increase is not that high because it's pretty much like a multiplier that just increase per level.
Yeah, so it keeps the same, whereas the amount of currency you have to spend to make it
it's
happen
too much.
is a lot.
So we wanted to do ability level 11, but we want to do it properly and to actually be meaningful because the cost could be high, and that will probably make time because we will need to just sit there and try to figure what we want that ability that
What
wants
makes
to do.
sense for each ability, and there's a lot of abilities in the game. So
So that will we still need to be tweaking, and so that's gonna come in the future, but not right now.
yeah.
Cool.
But I'm probably not very long from
Yeah.
now. But
Yeah, like there are also a few other things gonna come. I think with combiners like go above level 10 for 3 stars. It's something again we want to look at it. We just run out of time, so it's not gonna come with HQ17. But I think in the short future is something like that could be happening, that you can actually upgrade your combiners, the 3-star combiners above level 10.
Yeah.
Cool. What else is there? People say OR13, more OR13. There is we have increased the resource per hour to 2 from 1.60. There is more like maximum harvest that you can actually store on the harvester, and the storage is actually being increased to 140. So you do get more like OR13 on the background. So that's sort. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else to cover because. Like cooldown times, that's also something else to talk about. So as the bot levels, the cooldown times increases.
it's the star level as well.
We
right?
have capped the cooldowns for up to level 65 to 1 hour. So we will not go up to above to an hour, so it will be around, it will still be higher, like 45 minutes or 46 minutes that they're now, but it will not never extend like 1 hour,
Yeah.
so we capped that.
Will we increase the number of bots into battle?
No, there is actually physical UI limitations for doing that. If you play on an iPad, there is only so much space you can actually stick stuff in there, and you'll be able to actually trigger the ability that you want or deploy the bot that you want. It's actually, if you include combiner and boosts, it runs out of space. So for now, unless we figure something and rework it to be smaller, it's gonna be just 8 bots and a combiner.
Yeah, and some people were asking about the the research lab. It will also take 14 days, not 18. The research lab is also 14 days.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
What to upgrade it?
To upgrade it
Yeah,
with
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Also, I think the ore harvester is gonna be just 7 days because while you upgrading, you cannot actually harvest, and it will be quite punishing. So that's a bit limited, and I think also shield generator is a bit less. but because again you cannot actually charge this building while it's upgrading. So
Yeah.
something to be aware of. If you upgrade your steel generator, you won't be able to use it while it's upgrading. But the outpost and the combiner outpost, the combiner beacon, you will be able to use.
Still
So
work.
there is no worry there. Cool. I think that's pretty much everything. So like HQ17 scheduled to be released next week, as I said, on Tuesday. It will be come along with a new game mode, elimination mode, straight away from the launch. So you can straight away start upgrading your HQ and start winning your Z energy for where your HQ is finished. So you can start building those buildings, upgrading those boats above level 60.
And it's gonna be some meta rebalance as well, like the.
Oh yeah, we're not talking about the bots. Oh, do you want to do a brief mention? Do you have the list?
Yeah, wait 1 minute. There will be some. Can find that.
We have probably I can still show you. I think it should be live here. We have buffed gunners, air, and warriors. Gunners here you can see in Notable Jazz. It actually has a lot more health than it used to. That's like I think around at that point, like the 56 5-star on production has around 4,000 health, or like
4,000. They usually
Yeah.
around 4,500.
so it
it's
has
kind
been
of like
increased by
subscription.
60% the health of the gunners.
So that's quite massive.
So that's quite to get a lot of buff. Aerial bots also have been increased, so by 30% I think.
More than that, 40.
40%. So all your area bots get have like more health, and also we have decreased the range of the anti-air turrets.
Yeah.
It's a bit more close to how it used to be, so there won't be a spacing. The DPS will stay the same, but because it won't be actually track your flyer like all over the place, you will be able to get a bit less damage from that. Also for warriors. What do you have increased?
So for warriors, we are warriors are meant to be able to destroy walls. So the damage they do against wall will be increased. The value is still to be determined. We play testing it at the moment. We also have increased the amount of damage they deal when they go through walls using their rush. So all the rushing abilities of warriors, when they rush through a wall, they're going to do a lot more damage then.
Someone was saying like Grimlock, I think, can actually, with two back and forth, can actually destroy an HQ16 wall. So they've actually been buffed quite a lot. And
the last one is not so sure, so I don't know if I'm going to talk about it anymore.
Okay, cool. But they also do a lot of damage on walls. We talk about that. So just by having your warriors around, they can actually go through the walls much faster than they used to and actually help your whole squad.
Yeah, and there is like also like little things we have not mentioned but are there, like as you know, until level 16 the HQ has a resistance of against the special abilities of 50%, and on HQ 17 it's going to be 75.
Yeah. So more resistance on the HQ against abilities. So we're taking less ability damage passively than what it used to.
And another thing about the warrior, last one, what is it called? The armor resistance for the warrior, the power core.
Oh yeah, the trilithium plating of the warriors.
So it's gonna now. I don't have the details here, but it's gonna.
I mean, if it's here, I probably could have it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the translation will be there already, but it's gonna. So it's not gonna be buffed per se on the percentage of resistance.
No, it's not there.
No, it is there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So the resistance is the same, but it now resists damage from more defensive building.
Oh yeah, I think it used to be just auto cannons, and now it can actually resist damage from shock towers and laser turrets. So like you might, if you have a warrior and you use this core, you can actually resist more of the damage.
Yeah, which are like target, like kind of like close range defenses. So when you send them first in the defenses, they should resist more.
Okay.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. We probably missed something. There's a newsletter with a lot of the detail, and hopefully you can keep finding a lot of these little bits of bobs. There's a lot of things to be changing. Yeah. I think it was quite a long period of time where we just went through, and it's like, oh, we need to change this and we need to change that. Changing the bots sometimes can be painful because like you have to change like 24,000 files for the levels. So I remember Fabian like, oh, we need to tweak this, and it's like, oh,
it's gonna take me 2 hours. Yeah, so there's a lot of things to discover, but I think I'll do a little write-up of the meta rebalance in the next newsletter as well.
So we can put it in the wiki maybe, so we can actually, for people that want to just
get the details.
The details. And I think that somewhere here is where we're gonna let you guys go.
Yeah, I think that's enough.
Cool. So HQ17 next week. This is a really good event. You can win a 4-star crystal this week on the Vigilante event. We also saw like the new bots coming in like 2 weeks time, nose cone and drill horn. We talked about elimination mode and a lot of the other goodies. All that stuff is gonna arrive next week. So hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, should be good.
And we will see you in 2 weeks time, where we're gonna go through the new bots again.
See you then.
Right.
Have a good one.
Bye guys. Have a good time.